Hey everyone, so this video is a review of Sohcahtoa. So it's called Sohcahtoa Review Notes. So you would have taken these notes before if you were in my class. If you're following online, hello, welcome. Hope this helps you to understand trig ratios as part of a geometry course. So it's not trigonometry, it's high school geometry and the introduction to trig ratios. And so here we're looking at a mnemonic device here called Sohcahtoa where they all stand for something, okay? We're going to get into that in a moment. But here, there's a few things I want you to make note of on your paper as basic understanding. Number one, we've been given this triangle. So follow along with me here. This triangle has a right angle, so I'm going to go ahead and put a box here to indicate a right angle. It's very common when you see that box into a triangle, it means it's a 90-degree corner. So I always say go ahead, put a 90 inside that little box and draw an arrow directly across to the line, the side or line of this triangle here that's across from the 90-degree angle, and label that H. This is your hypotenuse, okay? It's the angle, the line that is directly across from your right angle. So that's my hypotenuse. That's also what you're going to use for each of these H's inside Sohcahtoa. Okay, so knowing that important information, so the hypotenuse is always easy to find. So I'm going to put a little star there to show, that's a bonus. I'm always going to look for that first, okay? So there's a few things that you want to look for when you're working with these trig ratios. So 3 things to look for. Please write this down. All right, ... So number 1 is the hypotenuse. I'm going to call it HYP. Okay, so if you like writing things out all the long way, go for it. Hypotenuse is what we're going to look for. The second thing that we're going to look for, and I'm going to call this O, the opposite. Okay, and then the third thing that we're looking for is the A. And A stands for adjacent. So 2 things. Hypotenuse, again, we've already looked at that. It's the line across from the right angle. Opposite and adjacent, you want to ask yourself, opposite and adjacent of what or to what? I'm going to change that of to a to. Opposite to what, adjacent to what, or of what. So the what that we're going to answer in this, kind of making a graphic organizer and a flow of thoughts here in notes, is the given angle. Okay, so given angle. Please take that note down. So there's 3 things that we're looking for. A hypotenuse, an opposite, and an adjacent. These are all going to be lines. And the hypotenuse, again, always easy to find. It's across from the 90-degree angle. But the opposite and adjacent, like opposite of what? Adjacent to what? The given angle. So what does that actually mean? So you will have 3 ratios. You're going to have, let me scroll down here real fast for you. So we've studied Sohcahtoa in terms of, that's not going to move there. Hopefully you have those notes. I'm going to go ahead and erase those notes. I hope you took them by now. If not, you're going to have to go backwards on this video. Okay, so Sohcahtoa, when they give us this term, what this means, I'm going to write them up here. So I'm going to say S equals O over H. That's the so part right here. C equals A over H. That's the ka right here. And T equals O over, what do you think? O over A. Now from our notes we just took, we already know what O is opposite, H hypotenuse, and A adjacent. Remember the opposite and adjacent, it's like opposite or adjacent to what? Well, the given angle. So what it would look like, if I had something called sine, which is when I would use my S ratio, it would look like this. Sine, and I'm going to give it a letter A. Sine means I'm going to use, it starts with S, means I'm going to use, my pen just went crazy there. I'm going to use the S ratio. Let me erase that for you. All right, back to business. So it does not want to work. Okay, so the S ratio is S, and then so it's opposite over hypotenuse. So I would say sine A equals O over H. Again, I'm looking at SOH, part of my SO in SOHCAHTOA. So the hypotenuse, well, how do I find that hypotenuse? So if I can find the hypotenuse and the opposite, then I have finished this ratio. So I want to always start with this hypotenuse. Remember, that's the one that's easy. So here's my right angle. I'm going to put a 90 in that box, draw an arrow straight across, label that H. I found my hypotenuse. That simple. So for an example, if that hypotenuse had a measurement of 20, there would be a number here like a length measurement for this side. Then I would say my hypotenuse is 20 because there'll be a given amount. Okay? So when I did talk before about opposite and adjacent of what angle, well, here is the given angle, angle A. So if I told you over here that here is angle A, let's say I have an A, a B, and a C labeled, okay? Well, if it says sine A, I'm going to go to angle A. So I always say circle the angle that's given. If it's A, circle your angle A. Now you know this is the angle that we are talking about. So what is opposite of angle A? Well, if I start at angle A and I go directly opposite, so boom, this line right here is opposite of angle A. It's in the opposite direction. So if this line was labeled 14, then I would say opposite of angle A is 14. That is very messy. So sine A equals 14 over 20. So I made my ratio opposite over hypotenuse. That's how that works. Okay, so you do have a practice sheet is going to talk all about using sine of different various angles. Now the whole front sheet is all doing sine of an angle. However, what if I asked you to find cosine of A? So it would look like this. Cosine A equals, and it would ask you for an answer. That's what a question would look like. So you need to know that C, because we're dealing with cosine now, sine started with an S, C equals A over H. That's the part of our ka in SOHCAHTOA. So A over H. I'm going to put a little star on that H to show you H stands for, what was it? Hypotenuse. We already know the hypotenuse was 20. We've solved that already. Again, I know because it's across from the 90-degree angle. Okay? And A stands for adjacent. Adjacent means right next to. So if it is not the hypotenuse across from the 90-degree angle, and if it's not opposite, then it might be right next door. Not might be, must be right next door. So that's this third line right here. So if I told you that that had a measurement of 18, then it would be 18, this pen is very crazy, 18 over 20. Go technology. It's probably user error. Here we go. So then we have, wow, 18 over 20, my adjacent line over my hypotenuse line. Okay, what a mess here. So let me clear the screen, and now this is the challenge and the bonus. So again, we had angles A, B, and C. We have 20, 14, and I don't know, 18 did I say there? And so if I asked you for tangent A, this is our third ratio. So we have T tangent equals O over A. There is no hypotenuse in this ratio. So I'm not going to use this one that's across from, I think I keep pressing the button on the pen. That's funny. 90 degrees. So that would be our hypotenuse. We're not using our hypotenuse today on tangent. So what did we say was the opposite to angle A? Well, I know I'm working with angle A because it said tangent A. So I'm going to circle the A. Opposite of A is 14. And then next to A is 18. Actually, 20 is next to A too, but 20 cannot be adjacent because it's the hypotenuse. Okay? So tangent A is 14 over 18. So a special note, if we had said to do tangent B, okay, tangent B, kind of, that wouldn't happen. But here we go. We would look opposite and we would look adjacent. It wouldn't happen because it says two adjacent right here. Okay? If we said tangent C, what would we do? We would say opposite, boom, opposite, 18, over adjacent, 14. Anybody know why I picked this 14 instead of this 20? Because this 20 is still the hypotenuse. No matter what, it's the hypotenuse. So this is the adjacent. If that's the hypotenuse and this is the opposite, the remaining one over here is the adjacent, right next door. So pay attention to the given angle that they're asking you for and the given ratio. And use your hints up above to solve these. You can go ahead and complete the entire next page. Have a great day.